Joe, how are you doing there, Joe? Come on, wake up, Sleepy Joe.
Would you be running for president if Trump wasn't running?
I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
You drop out if Trump runs out.
No, not now.
You're going to see tax rate legislation in 2025. It's a guarantee. That's whether Biden or Trump is in office or anybody else. This tax bill has to be written. It's mandatory. And as a just pure basis of where we are, just keeping the tax rates the same, not authorizing cuts to corporate rates or individual rates, just keeping rates the same for individuals into 2026 is going to cost $2.3 trillion. So for your international investors, I tend to get a lot of questions from our international clients about, hey, when is federal spending going to come down? When are Americans going to really focus on the deficit? And the short answer is not soon. We have a 2025 bill that must be written that just to keep things status quo needs to cost $2.3 trillion. So there will be additional deficit hikes, and there's potentially going to be some new sources of revenue.
The buck stops at the president's desk when he's president of the United States.
It was almost 80 years ago that Harry Truman's buck stops here mantra signaled responsibility rests with the president. For President Biden, whether it be inflation, immigration, or concerns over crime, the country's struggles are also, by default, his, and limit what he may run on in 2024. So as he hit the trail Friday near the Revolutionary War site Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, he warned of perceived dangers in electing Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's campaign is about him, not America, not you. Donald Trump's campaign is obsessed with the past, not the future. He's willing to sacrifice our democracy, put himself in power.
Citing the January 6th anniversary, he and other Democrats claim democracy is in peril.
The struggle that began on January 6th in this building continues to this day.
Especially as polling shows 46% of Americans think Donald Trump's actions surrounding that day should disqualify him from office. But is that enough for Biden to overcome lagging support among key parts of his base? And how Republicans are painting his time in office.
Trump, he'll make America's economy great.
Trump releasing this new ad Friday.
Mortgage rates low under Trump, punishing under Biden. Under Biden, your investments fell, along with other things.
And with Biden's approval ratings underwater on that and other voter priorities, he's forced to find an issue he hopes will turn the tide.
By Biden's crippling inflation, the inflation has been the worst that we've ever had. They say 72 years, sir. Be accurate. I say, I think it's the worst we've ever had. There's never been anything like this. Food prices have tripled, and every single thing you do, the energy prices, look at what's happened to energy. That's why Crooked Joe is staging his pathetic fear-mongering campaign event in Pennsylvania today. Did you see him? He was stuttering through the whole thing. He's he's a threat to democracy. They've weaponized government. He's saying, I'm a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy. Well, okay. Couldn't read the word. He's a threat to democracy. You know how bad the press is? You know what they do? They take me saying that like that, and they say, Trump couldn't say the word democracy. Look, no, that's what they do. They're so bad.
Do you take any blame for inflation? Could you just the president? Am I taking blame for inflation? No.
Why not?
Because it was already there when I got here, man. Remember what the economy was like when I got here? Jobs were hemorrhaging. Inflation was rising. We weren't manufacturing a damn thing here. We were in real economic difficulty. That's why I don't.
President Biden and the Biden administration have presided over the worst foreign policy catastrophe in a generation. Americans across the nation are horrified. Our servicemen and women, our active duty military are angry, they're disillusioned, and they're frustrated. Our enemies across the globe are emboldened, which makes the world more dangerous today for America, and our allies are dispirited. Ever since the disaster began unfolding in Afghanistan, we've seen the Biden administration making political excuses. We've seen Democrats on this committee explaining at great length how everything that happened in Afghanistan is Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is the President of the United States. Kamala Harris is the Vice President of the United States. You are the United States Secretary of State. Just like Jimmy Carter owns the disaster of the Iran hostage crisis, you own this.
61% say they're very concerned, and the working class is hardest hit. Economists say this was fueled by a glut of federal spending. The Biden administration has added $6 trillion to the national debt so far, but President Trump wasn't exactly a penny pincher. His administration added $7.8 trillion. Do Republicans, including President Trump, share the blame for inflation?
These Republicans in Washington have spent. It's driven your prices higher, and it's driven your interest rates to the point where you can't afford. I met a young fella in Iowa. He had graduated college a couple years ago, and he's like, Governor, I don't have a chance.
Yeah, no, it was a Hannity and DeSantis debate. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it's this talk about cultural purge. I mean, these guys are rewriting history, censoring historical facts. They banned AP African American Studies in Florida. This is a guy who literally doubled down that somehow slavery was some workforce development program. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. And they defend it and they assert it as a point of pride.
I personally think President Trump was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies. But the reality is, rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him. And we all know that's true. Chaos follows him. And we can't have a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it. And you don't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. Now is the time we need to have a new generational leader.
You said rightly or wrongly, chaos follows.
That Republicans don't have that much to run on, and these crime numbers are down. So the thing they have, the thing that they need is fear. And the only thing that they can find that they think will help them run is the border, because they think that there's fear. But the thing that we don't talk about when it comes to immigration is we don't talk about this is a very tight labor market. We actually need these people to work jobs. And I think that you're not, you know, there's a larger issue here, which is that we don't have a path to immigration.
House Republicans have announced next week they're going to start impeachment hearings on Secretary Mayorkas because they say of his role in the crisis at the border. So obviously they see fertile political ground here, and a resolution, which is what they're supposed to be doing to find some solution to this problem at the border, hurts them actually politically, and if the issue goes away.
Right. And look, they're also trying to impeach Biden. Let us not forget, they're trying 2 multiple impeachments at the same time.
Cook's in a lesbian relationship.
Oh, God, this shit again. Who?
No one. They both eat out.
I regret asking. 2 men broke into a pharmacy and stole all the Viagra. The police said to be on the lookout for hardened criminals.
They must have had a hard time escaping.
Bet.
Why did the Mexican throw his wife off the bridge?
Why?
Tequila!
That's racist, but kind of funny, so I'll let it pass.
Gracias.
Why does Batman only cover half of his face?
Oh, God, not the Batman jokes again.
It's for the police, so they'll know he's white.
Okay, calm down, Joker.